Now what we have here is something called the zero product property, and it's actually a really straightforward problem as long as you understand it. So the concept of breaking even is really having a profit of $0. So they're being a little bit redundant here, but they're essentially elaborating on what it means to break even. So let's go ahead and replace the profit with 0. And whenever you have a coefficient in front, as long as it doesn't have a variable attached to it, which it doesn't, it's not 50,000 t, it's just 50,000, we could go ahead and just divide it out, and that's gonna make things look a little bit easier for us. So we have 0 equal to the product of these two quantities. And now we're gonna go ahead and implement the zero product property that I mentioned. So what the zero product property says is the only way 2 or 3 or however many quantities can multiply to get 0 is if at least one of the two is 0. So that means either 2t minus 1 must be equal to 0 or t minus 5 must be equal to 0. And when you set each of those equal to 0 and solve, we get t is equal to 1/2 for this left equation, and t is equal to 5 for the one on the right. And which of the two is smaller? Well, it's 1/2. Now, in case you're curious how we could have used Desmos here, let's go ahead to Desmos, which is in the upper right corner. If you had any other functions there, you would click the gear icon and delete all. And then we're going to go ahead and type this in. Now, I'm going to explain an error that I made and kind of was confused by until I noticed what I had done. So I'm going to go ahead and type this in. We know that the profit is 0 as far as the goal for breaking even. We'll put equals. And I just typed it in exactly the way that I saw it. And I just figured the error message here would go away eventually. And then I typed in the 2. And remember, we're always going to replace the variable that they use with an x, assuming it's just the one variable. So I type it in and I still see like, what's going on here? And I thought, well, maybe let me get rid of the equal sign. And I look here and it talks about how points are written a specific way. And I thought, oh, they're confusing this comma as if I'm writing a point. So even though there's a comma in the number for 50,000, we'll get rid of it, and that got rid of the error. Now I can go back and type in the 0 equals. And let's go ahead and look at what we have here. So we can see that you get two x values, both of which are represented with these vertical lines, x equals whatever the value is. And we already saw the 5, and we could zoom in here to get the other one, which clearly is 0.5. And so we could type in our answer as 0.5 or 1/2, either of which will get us the right answer. Now, another approach you could take is if you actually just looked at this as like y equals as an actual function here, and you just try to find where the function crosses the x-axis, which if you think about it, whenever you're finding where y is equal to 0, you're really finding an x-intercept. So you really get the same idea here of intersecting at those two values, whether you have it as y equals or 0 equals, either way. However, with the 0 equals, it's actually a little bit nicer because it does show them as x-intercepts. Whereas if you just have y equals, you don't have those ordered pairs. But regardless, we get either 0.5 or 1/2.